The morning dew still clung to the organic herbs as I carefully harvested basil and thyme for our restaurant partners. 5 years ago, I shocked my family by leaving a prestigious law career to start Green Earth Farms. Now at 32, I was living my dream, even if my family thought that dream was beneath them. Emma Thompson, one of my farmhands, called from the greenhouse that the new hydroponic system was working perfectly and the yield predictions were off the charts. I smiled, remembering how everyone had laughed when I invested my savings into developing sustainable farming technology. Everyone except Dr. Lee from the Agricultural Research Institute, who had helped me patent our innovations. My phone buzzed. David, my older brother. I let it go to voicemail. He'd been calling constantly since his company, Green Tech Solutions Incorporated, announced their expansion into revolutionary sustainable products. Knowing David, that meant he wanted something. Still playing in the dirt, little sister? His voice dripped with condescension when he finally caught me in person at our parents' weekly dinner. He adjusted his designer suit, making sure everyone noticed the gold cufflinks. "While you're growing tomatoes, I'm growing an empire," he said. Mom beamed at him proudly. Green Tech just hit $10 billion in valuation, she announced. Not for the first time that evening. David is being featured in Business Weekly. "That's wonderful," I said, serving myself more salad vegetables from my own farm. But they didn't know that. "How's the new sustainable product line going?" I asked. David's smile faltered slightly. "We're in development. Very hush-hush. Revolutionary stuff." "Emma," Dad interrupted. "It's not too late to return to law. Wilson and Brooks would take you back in a heartbeat. This farming hobby has made its point." I thought about my thriving 200-acre organic farm, our groundbreaking hydroponic patents, and the waiting list of high-end restaurants begging to partner with us. But I just smiled. "I'm happy where I am, Dad." "Happy?" David scoffed. "You could be making millions instead. You're selling lettuce." If they only knew that my lettuce operation had caught the attention of major agricultural companies. Our sustainable farming patents, especially our water recycling system, were worth a fortune. But I turned down every buyout offer. Some things were more important than money. The next morning, I was checking our experimental greenhouse when my assistant rushed in. "Emma, you need to see this." She handed me her tablet, open to a business news site. My heart stopped as I read the headline. Green Tech Solutions Incorporated under investigation for greenwashing scandal. $2 billion in contracts at risk. Apparently, David's company had been falsifying environmental impact reports and sustainability claims. Their entire green product line was about to be exposed as a fraud. My phone rang again. "David." This time I answered. "We need to meet," he said without preamble. "The board is convening an emergency session tomorrow. I need you there." "Why would you need a simple farmer at your board meeting?" I couldn't resist asking. "Cut the crap, Emma. We know about your patents. Green Tech needs your water recycling technology. It could save us." I thought about all the times he mocked my work, all the family dinners where he belittled my choices. "Interesting," I said. "And if I refuse?" "Refuse." He laughed, but I heard the panic underneath. "Don't be ridiculous. I'm offering you a chance to finally be part of something important. The family needs this." "I'll think about it," I replied, ending the call. The next morning, I dressed carefully, not in the designer clothes they expected, but in my farm work shirt, clean jeans, and boots. If they wanted my help, they'd have to accept me as I was. Green Tech's headquarters was a sleek, steel and glass monument to corporate excess. Security led me to the boardroom where David was mid-presentation. "Our new sustainability initiative will revolutionize." He trailed off as I entered. "Ah, here's my sister," David said. "Emma has some agricultural experience that might be useful." The board members looked confused. One whispered loudly, "Isn't that the sister who plays farmer?" David cleared his throat. "Emma has been experimenting with some interesting water recycling techniques. Small scale, of course." "Small scale?" I interrupted, stepping forward. You mean the system that's been featured in Scientific American? The patents that 3 major agricultural companies tried to buy last month. The room went silent. David's face reddened as I pulled out my tablet and connected it to the display screen. Let me show you what real sustainability looks like, I said, pulling up the data from our farm. While you've been faking environmental reports, we've been actually saving the planet. The boardroom fell silent as I pulled up our farm's data. Graphs and statistics showing 5 years of revolutionary agricultural breakthroughs that green tech had dismissed as playing in the dirt. These are our water recycling results, I explained, clicking through slides. 97% efficiency, 0 chemical contamination, and completely scalable. Impossible, muttered one board member, leaning forward to study the numbers. It's very possible, I smiled. We've been doing it for 3 years. Would you like to see the independent verification from the Agricultural Research Institute? David shifted uncomfortably in his expensive chair. Emma, perhaps we should discuss this privately. Why? I asked innocently. Aren't you proud of your sister's achievements? Or am I still just the family embarrassment who plays with vegetables? The CEO of Western Foods, one of Green Tech's biggest clients, spoke up from the video conference screen. Miss Emma, we've been following your work at Green Earth Farms with great interest. In fact, we tried to acquire your patents last month. I remember, I nodded. I turned down your very generous offer. How much? David asked. 300 million. The CEO supplied helpfully, for just the water recycling patent. Your sister declined, saying the technology needed to remain in responsible hands. The boardroom erupted in chaos. Board members whispered furiously among themselves, while David tried desperately to regain control of the meeting. The point is, he said loudly, Emma has agreed to help us implement her systems. Actually, I interrupted. I haven't agreed to anything. You assume I would help because we're family, I said. The same family that mocked my work for 5 years. I clicked to the next slide. Photos of our latest experimental greenhouse. While you were faking sustainability reports, we were developing real solutions. While you were chasing stock prices, we were saving endangered crop species. The technology you need isn't just about water recycling, I continued. It's about a complete paradigm shift in how we approach agriculture. What's your price? One board member blurted out. Whatever your sister offered, we'll double it, triple it, another added quickly. I held up my hand. This isn't about money. It's about integrity, something Green Tech seems to have forgotten. Picking up my tablet, I pulled up one final document. The whistleblower report that would expose the company's fraudulent environmental claims. You see, I said, David didn't tell you everything. The reason he's so desperate for my technology isn't just about the contracts at risk. It's about this. The room grew deafeningly quiet as people read the document. David slumped in his chair, defeated. You knew about this, he whispered. Of course I knew, I said. Did you think I spent all my time just playing farmer? I've been watching Green Tech destroy everything I've worked for. Real sustainability, real environmental protection. You've turned it into a marketing gimmick. The Western Foods CEO cleared his throat. In light of these revelations, I believe we need to reevaluate our contracts with Green Tech. Unless, I added, the company is willing to make real changes, starting from the top. David's head snapped up. What are you suggesting? A complete restructuring. New leadership. Real commitment to sustainability. Not just greenwashing. And most importantly, I smiled, a partnership with Green Earth Farms, where we retain control of implementation. You want to take over? David laughed desperately. Yes, I finished for him. A farmer who understands something you never did. Real success isn't about looking good on paper. It's about doing good in reality. The board members were already nodding, seeing the only way out of their crisis. David saw it too, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. The shareholders will be thrilled, he tried weakly. The board chairman interrupted. When they see real sustainability metrics instead of fraudulent ones. Miss Emma, he said, Would you be interested in joining our board as Chief Sustainability Officer? I looked at David, remembering all the family dinners where he bragged about his success while belittling mine, all the times he told me I was wasting my education, my potential, my life on one condition. I'll say yes, I said, but the first board meeting happens at Green Earth Farms. I want everyone to see what real sustainable agriculture looks like, including my brother. Agreed, the chairman said quickly. Though perhaps we should change first. He glanced meaningfully at his expensive suit. I smiled, thinking of the muddy boots I'd left by the boardroom door. Actually, getting your hands dirty is exactly what this company needs. The morning after the board meeting, my quiet farm was overrun with suits and cameras. Business news crews jostled for position as GreenTech's entire board of directors, led by their fallen CEO, filed into the greenhouse to witness the technology I'd been preaching for years. David was there too, looking out of place in his pressed suit, standing next to me. I put a hand on his shoulder. I think you've learned your lesson, David. There's no shortcut to saving the planet. Only hard work. David swallowed hard and nodded. Maybe it's time I learned what it means to do things the right way. The cameras flashed, but this time, it wasn't about the empire he had built. It was about the world we could build together.